this conference, since we've seen that this game has to be about keeping your emotions in check. It also can't be about field goal attempts. It has to be about the quality of those shots.
Miles Powell on the other side. As you look at our Jeep Grand Cherokee starting lineups for today's game, and it should be an outstanding one. Quincy McKnight, Powell, Kale, Mahmoud Kalashvili, along with Romero Gill. Howard is joined by his fellow seniors, Hannum and Jace Johnson, McEwen, and Brendan Bailey. And the emotions, Lisa Byington, are indeed high.
That is priority number one, is to keep those emotions in check, in particular for Marcus Howard. He said, I don't have time to be emotional here before the game. I can do it after the game. Those in and around him, what's helped him is he said, my teammates have focused to keep this a game. His mom, his dad, one of his brothers in attendance. They've been here since Wednesday. They haven't even brought it up, and they have even told me that being around him this week, they feel like he's going to put a little extra into today.
The opening tap controlled to the hall. Our officials, Pat Driscoll, Kip Kissinger, and Tony Chiazza.
Game has to be about straight up man-to-man to start. Got to be tough. Shot quality important to start the game for both teams.
Mahmoud Kalashvili, a straight line drive, uses the window.
I'd say that's high quality, high percentage.
I said artistic, right? These kids can play.
Yes, they are intelligent. They study, not just in the classroom, but in those meetings with the coaches. You got to know who you're playing against.
Bada bing, bada boom. The star is in the building, and now this capacity crowd can sit down so the announcers can see.
Yeah, it can't be just about letting Marcus Howard go get his, though. You have to make him uncomfortable. Try to do the job on him. Best defensive team in Big East play right now is Seton Hall.
Jace Johnson, who did such a nice job against Georgetown, out on the floor as a starter in this game. Romero Gill, though, he's a load to deal with. That was up against the clock that rolls off, and it's quickly into Howard's hands the other way.
I think Mamu has to shoot that, made Gill get that ball off a little quicker than he wanted to.
Great defensive work by McKnight. Powell now. A solo. That's an offensive foul. Player control. First on Powell.
Yeah, these are always tough early in the game. I don't agree with that call. I just think when you're sliding in as he's trying to take off, but it's a difficult call. We've seen those go both ways. I don't think anyone would have been surprised if that was a block. But Marcus Howard, he's going to have guys running at him. He's seen every defense all season long. He is used to that.
By the way, you notice McEwen took that charge. They're trying to protect Sakar Annam, who is the defensive specialist, from early foul difficulty in this game. Hence, Kobe McEwen drawing Powell. Nice pass out to Brendan Bailey. Johnson keeps it alive. He's rejected by Gill. What a rim protector he's been all year. Powell pumps. Count it.
What about the ability to block the shot, keep it in play, and now to start the break for Seton Hall? And that is a tough matchup for Kobe McEwen. Nothing you can do about that from that deep. That's just how good Miles Powell has been all season long.
Both stars living up to the advanced billing. Each have an early tray. McEwen, he's the third wheel from an offensive standpoint. Played poorly in the game you had earlier in the week against Georgetown.
Really struggled against Georgetown. He tries to let it come to him. I think he's more, to me, one of those players that has to go find his offense. He's got to search it out.
Powell from the parking lot. Taken down by Bailey. Howard, a blow by, reversal, hello, how do you do?
And that showed you a little bit about how special Marcus Howard is. He is not a one-dimensional offensive player. He can get to that rim, knows how to hang, contort, get the contact, and finish.
Heel, off the heel, Johnson another rebound. He's collected too early.
Kale is so important to what they do at both ends of the floor, but most importantly on the offensive end.
There's a steal. Kale out to McKnight. Out of bounds. Last touched by Marquette.
How about the defense, though, from Bailey getting back without fouling, using that length? This is just awesome. You overplay a little bit. They bite, and then Kale, great job with the steal without fouling, at least without getting a foul call.
Yeah. Fans reacting. You can make a case that the big guy just got a little incidental contact, but I don't know that the partisan crowd would agree. Powell working crossover against McEwen. There's the tip in by Sandro.
I don't think enough is said about the other players around Myles Powell, how they don't always assume the ball is going to go in for him. They're always ready. They're engaged. Weak side rebound by Mamu. Terrific early.
Kevin Willard, at times when he goes up against quicker, smaller teams, Howard with another deep three. He will opt to go without Mamu Kalashvili because of defensive liabilities, perhaps. But he decided to trust his big fella and go against a smaller Marquette lineup today. A lot of times a Jared Rhoden might get the call against smaller lineups. You'll see him today, no doubt. And there's Romaro Gill. You can make a case the most improved player in the Big East this year.
His stock goes up and up and up every week of this season, not just defensively, but offensively now. They're integrating him into the offense. Great job. Interior pass, let him go to work.
Howard has all 8 for Marquette.
Look at the box out there. Yes, he can out-jump anybody in the gym and use that length, Gill. But fundamentally sound, backing up, boxing out, going to get the ball.
Quick feet, too, Donnie. If ever you have a switch, he can handle that switch. Powell and Howard putting on a show early.
Myles Powell off to a really good start here. You'd like to see those go down. Only a 30% shooter from 3. Important for him to get going early. They feed off of that, and Marcus Howard can do it in so many different ways. Lay or J. Big East basketball, man.
The scene over Lake Michigan on a cold, wintry day, but a clear day inside the Pfizer Forum. Seton Hall against Marquette, and right now a great start for Howard. Has all 8 of their points. Nada for his teammates. And oh, by the way, he continues to hit the record books. He just passed the Admiral David Robinson, 27th in all-time NCAA scoring. That's just an amazing run.
I do have to say, Byron Larkin, one of my all-time favorite college players, played at Xavier. He did that. In 2 years that he was in school, did not have the three-point line. So it puts into perspective, Pistol Pete, same thing.
Yep.
All-time leading scorer in college, no three-point line. And by the way, Pistol Pete only played 3 years in college, 3 years varsity.
Glad to say that I watched him play as a freshman in a freshman game. I did.
I mean, I'm
old enough to say that.
We're being treated to 2 really good players here all season long, but Pistol Pete, he was otherworldly.
Yes, he was. Mamu Kalashvili with the old-fashioned three-point play off the inbounds. The foul against Marcus Howard got caught underneath. Mamu with 7 on 3 out of 3 from the floor.
So important out of a timeout. On the road, most importantly, to run your stuff and get a high-quality, high-percentage shot.
Well, we mentioned Jared Rhoden out of the first timeout. He's on the floor, number 14. But Mamu stays in the game. Also, Shavar Reynolds, 33. Here's Rhoden. At times, a reluctant shooter. Myles Powell wants him to take more shots. And the turnover.
Can't happen.
Kevin Willard, what a remarkable run he's had in his 10 seasons. Boy, his dad's got to be proud. The Pittsburgh alum, now in his 13th overall season, has really built a culture at the Rock in Newark.
5 consecutive 20-win seasons.
Amazing. And oh, by the way, this Seton Hall team is absolutely built for a major run in March. They've got all that you have to have. Just into the game, Obiagu, and that's an example. You go to your bench, you get another guy over 6'10" that can run the floor like a deer and get you some easy buckets from point-blank range.
Have to have clear communication when you're guarding Myles Powell on the perimeter, how you're going to play him, who's going to switch, and then where the help's coming from once the big is open down low.
8-2 the scoring in the paint in favor of, yes, Seton Hall. Their mammoth size is a problem. Theo John and Jace Johnson undermanned in there today. John lost it, saved it. Up against the clock, it goes off of the heel for Torrance. And this is now a 7-0 run for the Hall. Powell. Well, he's playing the nylon song today, and Wojo's singing quite enough.
Look how he runs back, though. Business as usual. This is what I do, folks. Miles Powell, Seton Hall, hot, early.
Steve Wojciechowski's team trailing by 9 coming out of the timeout. Hard to believe he's 43 now in his 6th season here at Marquette. His club sitting in a good spot. Our Mike DeCourcy has them in the tournament field trying to improve their line at this stage in the 6 or 7 location, trying to stay off that 8-9 line going into the NCAAs. Howard. Oh, the iron tantalizingly unkind. It would have been a 3+1 had it fallen. And Shavar Reynolds will pick up the personal.
Just such a difficult defensive call because you know that he has the handle to get by you, but the tremendous release and explosiveness to stop on a dime.
The constant improvement over the 4 years is something you just marvel at over time. Look at that, just consistently getting better and making others around him better.
Remember his freshman year, he was 17 years old. Come in to Marquette, there was a lot of pressure on him. He's a young player still.
By the way, there was an article in the Forbes magazine coming into this game, really well done, talking about the relationship between Howard and Powell, and you've no doubt already heard from them, their conversation they had, and you'll hear more from them before the day comes out. The notion that 4-year players can't be considered superstars simply because they stayed in college for 4 years, debunk that. Yeah. Debunk it now. These two men are to be celebrated for what they've achieved at this level. Ronan.
I mean, how about the skip pass? I mean, they are like just a fine-tuned machine right now. And for Marquette, they just have to do a better job of communicating defensively and running guys off that three-point line.
Now Powell comes to help McKnight, and he splits the double team and drops the teardrop on him. And it's 20-12. There's so many ways he can launch shots and score. Roden. Rejected. John got it. His big mid up there to deflect it. And knocked it away. Howard goes behind the back off a stutter step. Oh my. Everything but the finish, but a tap out and a recycle. And he's got it again. He touched all of that rim. Even his misses are fun.
And I'm not sure who this game is more difficult for, the officials or the players or the fans.
You know, they're honoring Chris Jackson and Mahmoud Abdul-Rahman. This reminds me of him. It really does. Oh, even the miss is worth replaying.
That one hurt you, didn't it, Timmy?
Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness. 20-12, Seton Hall distributing the ball nicely with an 8-point cushion against Marquette. Let's go in the huddle of Kevin Williams.
If Marcus is going to shoot every time, we're going to win by 20. Okay, don't let the other guys get us. Keep being good on the other guys. Understand that? Ike, great wall up down there, Ike. Great wall up.
That's the story in that huddle. Lisa Byington has the story in Wojo's.
Well, Wojo actually let his associate head coach Stan Johnson do the talking. He looked at his group and he said, offensively, are we moving the ball? Are we sharing the ball? The little things matter, and we're playing right into their hands. The fact that Marcus Howard, only 12 points that Marquette has scored here today.
Well, conversely, Lisa, the Hall have 6 assists and 5 different guys have scored. So the early signs are that ball distribution is with the road team. Powell fading away that time with a quick shot.
To answer Lisa's questions, or Woj's questions, no and no. They have 1 assist. They are not moving the ball. It's not swinging sides of the floor. This team, Seton is too good for one guy to have to try to beat them every time.
Elliott just into the game. Greg Elliott saved by Johnson. And another steal. This one by McKnight, but he stepped on the sideline. Right in front of us. He ran out of terrain.
That's just good coverage, though, by Seton Hall. They got Marquette scrambling all over the place, and you'll see it right there. The pink on the blue is easy to see. He had blue shoes on. Maybe it could have gotten away with that. But that's just what Seton Hall has done all season long. That's why teams struggle to score against them. Field goal percentage-wise, they scramble. Their long. Kale is 6'6", wingspan, and obviously Quincy McKnight long at that point guard spot. This is also what makes them tough, is there are four guards essentially right now on the floor for Seton Hall. They can switch everything
and take chances because they've got a shot blocker behind them.
Howard. Oh, go the other way.
Yep. Player control foul. It goes the other way.
That's what I mean. You can't do this when you have bigger players on the floor. I mean, that's great rotation. McKnight was on the ball. They switch off. Now he goes back to the spot where Marcus Howard is going to be. That's just great communication, great help, and great understanding of the scouting report.
Not so much that foul, but the one underneath the basket off the inbounds on that switch gives him two, and he's got to sit.
Yeah.
That was when Mahmoud Kalashvili got the old-fashioned three-point play. So we'll see how long Wojo keeps him there. Powell with a scoop to the hoop, and I think they're going to catch Gill going over the back.
Yeah, I don't like that call. I think that you got to let the two bigs mix it up a little bit. I didn't see a clear over the back. I thought they were both scrapping for this ball. Take a look here, Timmy. I think you got to let two bigs, you know, unless there was a push early, okay, but they didn't call that. They called a hit on the arm. That's just two guys fighting for a rebound.
Here's Jace Johnson working against the much taller Gill. Maybe because he got that earlier foul, he chose not to contest, and Johnson took advantage. 20-14. One thing about it, Marquette will have to distribute it now because Howard is on the pine.
Yeah, Sakar Adam has to be the guy. McEwen also. That's just too easy for Bailey to allow Miles Powell to get to the middle and really no help behind him.
8 in the game for Powell. You know, his perimeter shot has been on the wane in recent weeks. I think he knows that too, and playing against Howard's going to energize him today. Nice move and a pull-up by Brendan Bailey, the son of the great Thurl Bailey of North Carolina State fame. Jimmy V and the Miracles. Cardiac pack. 22-16. McKnight for three.
Wow.
Quincy.
This is what you would call a clinic in half-court offense, swinging the ball the opposite corner.
Here's McEwen. Goes right into the face of Gill and gets contact. And that's number 2 on Romero. But here comes Sandro Mamukalashvili. They've got such depth in the front court. Iko Biagu will also come into the game.
Got to get some hands in the passing lanes here. I know you have some pressure on the ball, but that's the swing to Powell, and then Powell back to McKnight. Late challenge by Annam, but before that, you got to do your work early. Maybe scooch up with that lane a little bit. Get those hands up when you're on that help position side. On the ball is hard to disrupt that when you're guarding a guy off the dribble, but Marquette needs help from that back line or the secondary defender.
This guy right here, McEwen, is one of the top 5 free throw shooters in the league, and he's also, according to Wojo, the X factor. If Kobe McEwen gets his game right early to help Sakar Annam play the role of Robin to Howard's Batman, they become a much tougher cover. But there are times when he's invisible.
See, I think I really believe he's the Robin. I know Sakar's been here a long time, so that's why we assume that's how it should be.
Yeah.
But McEwen, to me, has to be a guy who can play alongside of Marcus Howard, not only when he goes to the bench. And there's Mamu again, just so special for this team. Missed those games earlier in the season.
Had a wrist injury.
They found a way to win without him, but since he's been back, he has been sensational.
Yeah, Obiagu got that foul. You know, there had been some talk about Kevin Willard's locker room that there had been some unrest. I think Kevin knew when they were so successful without Sandro that getting him back into the lineup meant it would reduce minutes for guys like Obiagu, for Tyrese Samuel, the outstanding freshman phenom from Montreal. They've got just such depth down low. They'll stick to it in this down low, but unable to finish was Adam. Reynolds, a teardrop.
Wow. I mean, anything they want. The middle's wide open. It's happening for a couple of reasons. Lack of that defensive continuity, but on the offensive side of the ball, it's moving. 9 assists, 12 made field goals for Seton Hall.
The Hall have hit their last 4 from the floor. Here's McEwen working on Cale. Bailey looks to be willing. That one just grazed the front iron. Out of bounds, it'll stay here with Marquette when we come back. A very important game on Senior Day. The Golden Eagles trying to hold home serve against Miles Powell and Seton Hall. The Pirates have been putting on a clinic offensively. In lieu of that, let's go in the huddle of Marquette.
We're not jumping to the ball. We're not moving as the ball moves. We're not doing anything hard right here, right now. That's why they're getting everything they want. I told you for 2 days he was going to go at you. Every time they're posting you up, you're giving them no resistance. We get the ball screen. We shrink it. We have no high hands. They throw the skip pass.
Well, Stan, we'll back you up here. You know, this is a tough matchup. The jab. Okay, you can maybe live with that. You know, Miles Powell is so special offensively. But where is the help on the backside? The nice little reverse pivot to get some space, to swing across the floor. There have been a number of cross-court passes that normally would say you can't make that pass with a long, big team like Marquette. But right now, Stan's right. The energy, the effort defensively is just, it has not been there. And in turn, Seton Hall has not turned the ball over except for one time, and that was the offensive foul by Miles Powell early in the game. 10.5 minutes, no turnovers. That's how you get to this point on the road.
That's how Stan Johnson, the assistant coach, operates as a coordinator for Wojo's defense. And you know what, Wojo, I'm curious, based on what's happening now with this lineup for Marquette, how long do you think he can go with Howard on the bench, given the way Seton Hall is playing offensively? Adam Johnson, the offensive rebound and a recycle.
That's great effort right there by Johnson without fouling. He earned it.
Smooth up and under against Obiagu.
Great job by the big fella. Says, I earned this offensive rebound. I'm going to call my own number.
Roden, man, rattling it home. Jared Roden, the sophomore from Baldwin, New York. Our savior Lutheran has been a savior off of that bench. And 5 of 9 from downtown.
That's a natural instinct, Timmy. You want to overhelp because you just got yelled at about your defensive pressure. Overhelp gives him a little bit too much space on that three-point line, Roden. Knocks it down.
Seton Hall at a 60% clip. 10 assists and a turnover. Just 1. This long rebound taken down by Shavar Reynolds.
And this shows you a little bit about how confident Seton Hall is in their half court. Miles Powell on the bench, but they're still going to run their half court stuff. They're not forcing those fast break plays.
Well, the difference is Seton Hall still has offensive out pitches like Mahmoud Kalashvili. like Roden, like McKnight. Who's going to be the out pitch for Marquette? Is it this guy? Not this time. McEwen turns it over. Powell will come back into the game for the Pirates.
Chase Johnson doing the job here. He gives it up. They give it back to him. You got to thank your guard for that. Sometimes you get an extra opportunity. Your guards want to jack that thing up. Get the big fella involved. Put some pressure on the Seton Hall bigs. Remind them that you have a little bit of an inside presence if you're Marquette.
Lisa, you heard some of that conversation.
It was it was almost like Donnie was listening in as well. That's exactly the words that Kevin Willard said. Like, look, guys, offensively and defensively, we're losing our interior presence. Let's not get satisfied in the fact that we have a lead. Let's pay attention to the 7-1 offensive rebounding edge that Marquette has. And though they have a points in the paint advantage, he could feel the tides were turning and that could make a difference in this game.
Well, we just got the answer on how long Wojo could go without Marcus Howard. The moment Powell got back on the floor, Wojo looked at Marcus and said, get up, you're going back in. And Theo John attacks the 10 to make it a 10-point game.
Look, you're down 10. You're shooting 33% to Seton Hall's 57. This isn't the worst place to be in. And without question, Marquette's defense has been below par.
Trying to regather. Mahmoud College really lost it. He was hoping for an alley-oop there. Didn't get it.
The next thing you know, you get a couple buckets, you get a stop.
McEwen has it slapped away. It'll be Marquette's basketball underneath their own hoop.
I love the chess match that's going on between Woj and Willard. You putting your star in, I'm putting mine in. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're going to put a defender, my best defender, in on your best scorer.
Well, Howard sat 550. And against a lot of other teams, let's say mere mortals, he might have sat the remainder of this half. But against Seton Hall, you just can't afford that. They have too many out pitches. Here's John muscling his way in.
That is a grown man move by Theo John.
He knows he's up against it today with that quartet of Seton Hall bigs that he has to deal with. And they're on their feet at Pfizer Forum. Killing me softly, Roberta Flack. That's as high off the window pane as you can go. How about that? Marcus Howard. Calling Dr. Howard. Calling Dr. Howard. He is back. And Marquette is down 7.
Kevin Willard's got something for that, though. Diffuse. Might have been the best call of the game for Kevin Willard. We're going to quiet this place down with a timeout. We're going to talk about some things. But when you have this guy with the left softly, that'll get you an Ian Horse any day of the week. But on the other side, you cannot forget about this guy. Big time scorer, Marcus Howard. We got a game. Please don't go anywhere.
That's Gentleman Joe. Many thanks. And look at what Providence has now accomplished off of that Villanova victory. 8 quad 1 wins. Oh, by the way, they didn't handle the quad 3 and 4 teams that well. But Easy Ed Cooley, in my estimation, I'd love to get yours. Your thoughts as I think they're in. I think they punched their ticket today. What about Xavier and Georgetown's plight?
Yeah, Xavier, kind of the same area. They're 18 wins. Strength of schedule has to still mean something in the day and age of Q1, Q2, all that good stuff. What happened to strength of schedule? What happened? It has to mean something. And Georgetown, it's been a tough season for Patrick Ewing.
Those two play tomorrow, by the way. Very important matchup. All of them are this time of the year in a league that has such power up top. Right now, DeCourcy has 7 Big East teams in. Georgetown were to run the table, it would make an 8. That's Jamal Cain picking up that foul. Seton Hall will trigger it in. 4 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in the opening half. Reynolds over John.
Man, and that's just how the game has gone for Seton Hall. Reynolds trying to make the right play down low, gets it back.
Now, there have been times when Shavar Reynolds has made big plays. He does not lack for confidence. Zakar Annam out of the timeout. leading Marquette as they close to within 7. A little more time on the bench for Marcus Howard with the 2 fouls. Great pass. And Mahmoud really went to sleep that time.
I think that was between he and Jared Roten, who's going to be that the pass off in the middle of the paint there, because Mamu had a guy in the corner.
Theo John, 4 points, an assist, and 5 rebounds. Another takeaway by Kane.
Yeah, Miles Powell has to know you can't throw that ball to the big fella right there, especially that low. You got to throw it high.
Seton off the back iron. Another great job to get a recycle. Offensive rebounds at the key. And a leaping leaner for Elliott out of Detroit City. Tie ball, the arrow the other way.
Got to give this Marquette team a lot of credit. They're not hanging their head. Their body language is terrific the last 2 minutes or so. But look at this. Got to get down, get on the floor. And their energy on the defensive end has really picked up. I think Seton Hall has tried to find a little breather here in the last couple of minutes. And they got to pick this thing back up. Put their foot back on the pedal last 2:36, because Marquette and this crowd, here they come.
Donnie, they went 15 minutes without a turnover. Now have committed 2 in a row. And Howard is back on the floor. That's a foul on Obiagu.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Big fella's got to release. Quincy McKnight has to say, if it's not a jump double team, if you're not trapping, he's got to send the big fella back, because this is just easy money for Marcus Howard. Attack the big, you get a foul.
2 bigs now, Obiagu and Romero Gill, each with 2. Howard had that one deflected away. Powell over Kane.
Boy,
I think he's better from 3 when he's contested. I really do.
Man, oh man, I don't know what you can do. What can you do with that?
That's excellent defense. He's 3 of 5 from beyond the arc today. You look at his shooting percentage and it's not as good, but it's because he takes so many shots, and many of them are against the shot clock. Kane. John trying to run it down, but McKnight beats him to it.
That's a great job. Roten was up ahead. He passed up on it. Too tricky.
Look at that. Kale. And if it's not him, it's Roten. They have so many out pitches, this Seton Hall team.
How about the decision making, though? Quincy McKnight could have thrown that ball ahead. A little risky. He holds it, finds Kale in the corner. Decision making has been everything in this game for Seton Hall this half.
Well, they answered an 11-4 run by Marquette with a 6-love spurt of their own. Nice pass, John, to a cutting Sakar. Sakar Annam with the bucket. It's 42-33. Annam was 0 for 6 before that bunny. Maybe that won't ignite him in the second half. Howard, you're right, that's just too easy.
And Kane's got to step up and take a charge. He was standing back there. As soon as Powell caught the ball at the 3-point line, you got to step in, give up your body.
Howard pulls up. McKnight just could not stay with him. See the shot clock, game clock differential, about a second and a half. So for the better part of these few seconds, Seton Hall will hold for 1. McKnight using his size over Howard. Rebound Kane. They have time, and they've got the right guy with the rock. Boy, the lid would have come off Pfizer for him had that one gone. Well, the numbers are pretty impressive for the 2 stars of this game, the 4-year seniors, the reigning Big East Player of the Year, Howard with 17, Powell with 15.
All I can say, partner, is I love my job. Man, oh man.
Lisa Byington's got Kevin Willard.
You knew this building would be rocking a little bit here today. How do you feel like you've handled some of the surges and runs that you felt?
Pretty darn good to have a 9-point lead. You know, Marcus, we knew he was going to come out and be aggressive, but I think we're doing a great job on the rest of the guys. You know, we didn't want Sakar to get off or Bailey. Those two guys, you know, I thought we're passing the ball great and we're getting good looks, so I'm really pleased the way we're playing on the road.
Marcus Howard had a couple of fouls that put him out of the game. Is there anything that you can play to that in the second half?
No, he's too smart of a player. These old guys, man, as much as you want to try to mess with him, he's had more games, and, you know, he's going to be too smart. He's too great of a player. So, you know, we just got to keep doing what we're doing.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
How about that respect? Gotta love that from Kevin Willard. That's the end of the half. 44-35 our score. Joe Davis and the guys back in Los Angeles for the Jeep halftime report coming your way. A lot more excitement. Offense not on the wane in this matchup. Enjoy. Today's game, in many ways, a celebration of two four-year players in college basketball that know their game and make everyone around them better. And they have lived up to the advanced billing. Look at that. And consider for Marcus Howard, he sat for 7.5 minutes, Donnie, and yet got that many points and a scintillating shooting percentage. Incredible.
I tell you what, these two guys don't have a lot of paint left on them. For all you NASCAR folks out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They've been around a long time, but with that, they know how to get it done. Just like Kevin Willard said at the end of the half, there's not a lot you're going to throw at Marcus Howard and try to get another foul on him that he hasn't already seen. And for Myles Powell, I think this started the game and started him off mentally in the right way, knocking down a long one. And then this is just too easy. You have to understand one guy can't guard him. It has to be a team effort, and Marquette has to do a better job of that in the second half, showing that.
It's clear Marquette is undermanned in their front court. What must they do to offset that in the second?
Well, they have to move the ball better. They have to share the basketball. They have to be ready to score. Marcus Howard is a willing passer. Now, I know he's got it going. I know that sounds funny. He's supposed to score the ball, but he will pass you if you get to an open spot. They have to have better spacing, and they have to be willing passers in the half court.
Here's our Jeep Grand Cherokee stats at the intermission. You see the three-point shooting as a whole. Seton Hall has been outstanding. It hasn't all been about Powell. And Lisa Byington's got a lot more for us than what Wojo had to say.
Well, he tipped his hat to Myles Powell and some of those shots that you just showed, and the fact that he said they were contested. There's one thing we felt like we could do is we could draw maybe more charges on Myles. We missed 3 to 4 opportunities. I asked him what happens if Marcus Howard picks up his third early. He said he's going to leave him in the game.
Well, that is eye-opening. And I think Gill is also eye-opening. A beautiful slip for the slam off the lob to open.
And there can be weak side help because Kobe McEwen is guarding Myles Powell on that far left weak side wing.
And the lead back to double digits at the outset of the second. Jace Johnson, that third senior playing today. That ball was deflected, still almost went through. Gill is, he's an eraser back there. Guards can take chances because they know Romero has their back.
Love Seton Hall coming out this half. Not in a hurry. Gonna run their stuff.
Ignite. Gill with a follow.
Again, that's the problem you have when your coach says, where's the defensive help? Weak side help. You overhelp, and now that leaves the big guy wide open for an offensive putback.
Ranks third nationally in block shots. Plays about 20, 25 minutes. He knows he's going to have help. We've seen plenty of Obiagu, and Sandro Mamukalashvili is out there with him as we open the second, as he was to open the game. Howard has it knocked away by McKnight. Beautiful defensive play. Now he waits for help, and that's a lot of it. Powell all the way to the rack. Johnson cut him off.
It's a really good no call. You go straight up. Myles Powell, little smile, wasn't upset. He gets it.
Johnson up higher this time, and it rolls off both the back and front iron.
There's a lid on it. Jace Johnson, yeah, a couple of good looks. And you called it, the last one was deflected, but that one, boy, it just would not go down.
You look at Seton Hall as a team, they look like those vintage Kentucky teams of the 90s. So much size, length, they spread the floor. They have all the pieces it takes in March. Howell is fouled by McEwen.
Just can't happen. You got to go out under control, but this is the way you start a second half. This tells me that you are dialed in. Just take a look. Miles Powell's going to come this way. Now what happens is the big fella's going to roll. All this help over here is not there because McEwen has to stay with Miles Powell. So they're over-helping. Look at that lane wide open for Romaro Gill. And the same thing. 3 guys coming to the ball. Jace Johnson trying to help. The miss. Easy putback for Gill.
By the way, to mention the totality of Miles Powell's greatness, in addition to the shot selection today, which has been very good, he's got 4 assists to go with it. That's the great thing about both of these players.
Yeah, I will say though also about Miles Powell is that he cares, and you know every player wants to make you think they care about the game, but he cares about his team. He cares about this matchup in his friendship with Marcus Howard. You just don't get that in a lot of players in basketball in general when everything is so, you know, me-centric, if you will. Everything's about me. He is not that kind of kid, which for me, as if I was an NBA scout, I was like, that's the guy I want on my team. He understands how to be a great teammate and be caring.
Well, the lead up to 16 now in a critical time for Marquette to answer this early challenge from Seton Hall, a 7-0 run to get their largest lead of the afternoon.
And let's face it, Timmy, when you get to this stage of your career like Marcus Howard and Miles Powell, everyone in the world knows you can play. It's the other parts of your personality and your nature that the scouts start to look at.
Nice ball fake by Howard. Count it.
Boy, woo, I tell you, that is patience, just understanding you know better what the defender's going to do than he knows.
4 for 4 from downtown for Marcus Howard. Mahmoud Kalashvili, his spot, absolutely his spot.
How many times are they going to throw that cross-court pass that is not under duress?
Annam can't get that one to go. Howell taking control with a 16-point lead, just over 3 minutes gone by in the second. Mahmoud, by the way, 5 of 6 from the floor today. Air has been taken out of this building early. They are waiting for Marquette to answer this early challenge from Seton Hall. Look at that. How about Sandro? 56-38. And a timeout. 12-3 run to open up for Seton Hall.
I didn't realize that buzzsaws were made in Newark, New Jersey. But there's one in here today. Seton Hall starting the second half the same way they started the game.
Take a look at the 2 seeds, as you see our score having ballooned to an 18-point cushion for Seton Hall. Right now, Creighton sits there, and they have been playing the best basketball in this conference of late. But, you know, Seton Hall knows that they've got a challenge. And I'm curious your thoughts as to whether they can get to the 2 line. Right now, they're at the 3, according to our Mike DeCourcy.
You got to, again, look at the quad 1 record.
Yep.
7 true road wins. I think the interesting thing is about Seton Hall, they're just one of those teams that brings so much. I don't know how you could go wrong putting them at that 2.
They have a tougher finish than does Creighton. And so the opportunity is there for better quad 1s for them. Here's Howard with a teardrop. Off the back iron this time. Romero Gill clears.
See, Timmy, you might call it a setback. I call it a setup when you look at that schedule.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you can set yourself up for something even better, but they're tied with Nova and Duke when you talk about true road wins. Baylor has 9, Kansas has 8. Yeah, you're in some pretty good company.
That's an almost unfair high-low game going on between Gill and Mahmoud Kalashvili. Theo John gets the foul. It's his second. So Gill at the free throw line. 69% on the season. That closing schedule we were discussing. And I mean, look, they're all tough, but Creighton has, think about it, that matchup with Seton at the end could be the big one. It could. But their matchups prior to that are not as difficult as the Pirates. So we shall see. All of that before we get to the Garden in New York. Can't wait to be there for the first time.
I got to tell you what, that building in Omaha. And I tell people that I'm crazy. That's my favorite city to travel to, Omaha.
It is fun. You're right.
It's a great place.
57-38 here in Milwaukee on a clear day. And our SoFi Money Moves will tell you, get your money right, all in one app. There have been clear opportunities for Seton Hall.
Yeah, they are making money moves in this game for sure. Skipping the ball, the skip passes, flip-flopping sides of the floor. And as much as, you know, people will see this and blame the defense of Marquette, you got to give credit to Seton Hall's offense. The spacing has been phenomenal. Guys staying in their spots. And when you're in your right spot, when Miles Powell jumps in the air, he knows exactly where the boys in blue will be. And they have, which I think is, to me, this is how you win on the road. One of the ingredients, 15 assists for Seton, only 3 turnovers. And let's remember, one of those is an offensive foul by Miles Powell. So they're taking care of the ball. And they have 8 3-pointers, and they've assisted on 6 of them. So both ends of the floor, especially on the offensive end, they're doing the job.
Kalashvili is having some game. He may have tagged the foul on Jamal Cain prior to the turnover. Just a case of poor timing for Jamal. And already the 13th foul of this half against Wojo's team. But Knight will trigger it in. Powell. That's just too easy off the inbounds. That's a 2. He was inside the arc, and the lead now catapults to 21.
For both teams, those out-of-bounds underplays important. Marcus Howard working on that shot, and I always believe that the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Pay attention to detail, do it hard. So when you watch these two teams in practices and shoot-arounds, it's exactly how they play the game.
McKnight,
man,
just too good. He used his size advantage past Howard that time. And the lead back to 20. Marcus is going to need some exemplary help from guys like Annam and McEwen and Bailey. Can do! And the Hall looks unstoppable.
But this is what Marcus Howard has to do better at this point. When you turn the ball over, you can't get down on yourself. You got to run back. You got to sprint back, try to be in the play.
John got it inside the lane with a sweeping maneuver. 7 of 9, Seton Hall from the floor this half. They are absolutely lighting up Marquette.
I know it's a 20-point game, Timmy, but there's still a lot of games to play.
Absolutely. It's just going to take getting some help.
But your body language, your mindset has to be better right now. This last 14 minutes for Marquette.
Brendan Bailey, the super soft from Salt Lake.
And I like the best part of that play was not only did he point to Marcus Howard to say thank you for the pass, he went over and gave him 5. Got to do it together.
First Marquette trade by anyone other than Howard. And that's exactly what Marquette needs if they're to manifest a run.
And this is coming off of a Marcus Howard turnover, hangs his head, and Miles Powell makes the right play, easy play. Mamu running the floor. I can't tell you how those just, even up 20, what those do for your confidence. Especially when you know Miles Powell could have probably dribbled it in and possibly laid it up. There was a defender there, but he made the right play.
McKnight for Brady. Jace Johnson had it tapped away from him by Gill.
Something to be said about those tap backs versus grabbing that ball with 2 hands. You hear so many coaches say, grab it with 2, but when you got a guy like Gill, go get it and tap it back.
Oh, my. Sandro. How good is that? I mean, when he's going like this with Powell, I mean, they're just too good for a lot of teams. Not just Marquette, but a lot of teams. McEwen. Mahmoud just taps it to a fellow 7-footer. 8 of 9 from the floor for Mahmoud Kalashvili. 19 points. How's that for efficiency?
And those kind of plays, too, they mean a lot. It's a little tap back when all these players want to pad their stats and have another rebound. He taps it back to a teammate. And there's Roden from the corner.
I mean, they're a machine right now. They are an absolute offensive machine. The lead is up to 23. Reynolds with a reach against Torrance.
And you can take that. When you're up 23, you can take those little gambles, maybe try to come away with that. But look at this. And the quality of the passes also, I mean, that's where Roden brings the ball from anyway, down low. So the pass is right there, not quite in the pocket, meaning at that hip, ready to go up and shoot, but he brings it down low. All he has to do is just elevate up off that pass.
Seton Hall as a team, 19 assists, just 3 turnovers. Like I said, they could beat a lot of teams with those numbers.
I would say any team, especially the way college basketball is today. Elliott
against the clock and the iron kind. It deadened the back rim to make it 69-48.
It's been that way all game for Marquette. Even that one didn't seem like it wanted to really go in for them.
Mamu again, doubled, tripled. A lot of bodies on the floor. Looks like they're all okay. All smiles is Sandro Mahmoud Kalashvili. 69-48, Seton Hall. And that man Mamu has been something special today.
His size, his ability to put the ball on the floor helps when he has bigger players on him. And then, that skill to be able to stretch the defense out. You stretch bigs out to an area of the floor they're just not used to playing you because he's so versatile.
It's the most points he's had in a conference game. His career high, 23 against Sacred Heart. He's well on his way to eclipsing that. If you think about it, they lost Miles Powell for a couple of weeks in concussion protocol. They had Mahmoud Kalashvili out with the wrist. And I remember we were together at Butler and we were talking with Kevin about, okay, the chemistry factor, getting Miles back. These guys play without their star for a while. And we asked him about Mahmoud. He got a little angry. He was like, I don't want to think about that. Because he knew it was going to impact some playing time for a lot of other guys. Mahmoud Kalashvili blended right back in. No worries, no issues whatsoever upon his arrival.
You always have to be concerned with how many minutes you give a guy that early and how many you take away from someone else who's kind of earned it with his departure.
Well, Howard doing all he can. From the Wojo huddle, Lisa Byington has more.
You get the feeling that he feels like this is a do-or-die kind of moment here in the game with under 12 to play. He was kind of appealing to the heart of his team, saying that this crowd, this building, is waiting for them to show a little bit of heart. You see Miles hit the 3 there, but again, as he told me at halftime, he feels like there's some charge-taking opportunities that these guys are just backing off of defensively.
And you wonder something about the emotions, too, Donnie. It is senior day. This is the last time Marcus Howard will ever wear this uniform in Milwaukee. And he's got a couple of veteran players with him that feel similarly. It's hard sometimes when daggers, like so many that have come from Powell and Mahmoud Kalashvili, are coming against you on a day like today. Obiagu with a foul.
And I've been in this senior game before. I can't tell you how emotional it is when you know, well, you have some more games to play, but as much as these fans have given you in 4 years, of college, you feel like you got to come out of here with the win, or you're going to let them down for all those times they've been behind you. So I know how emotional this game is for the seniors. It's like nothing you can really explain.
Obiago rejecting Howard as he took it in, but got some body to go with it, so a foul to go with it. Look at that. Here's everything that he means to this program. First. By the way, that ball was deflected out. There was no foul. Slams it home. A rare mistake by Seton Hall off an inbounds play.
Really good back pick by Elliott, who really is built like a blade of grass, but he did just enough to slow up Sandro so Theo John could get to that rim.
Reynolds wave it off. Manu got it inside the cylinder. He does look like a pirate, doesn't he?
I don't know if that's a compliment, so I'm not gonna.
I mean it in a
I know how you mean it, but I don't know.
Who's gonna mess with?
I mean, take a look. Here's Elliott. There's my blade of grass, but he does just enough to hold up Sandro for Theo John to get the putback.
Well, afterwards, I'm going to have you walk the plank. Here's the high pick from Johnson. Howard plays the nylon song. 6 for 6 from downtown for the All-America.
And here we go again. 3 points. He's got a 30-point game right now, and it's been talked about. Woj just talked about it, how a lot of people around the country think it's just ho-hum when he gets 30 points. They don't realize how hard it is, but he makes it look so easy.
Well, let's see if there is a run in this homestanding team. John on the offensive boards. And Mahmoud Kalashvili, I think, will be credited with the foul. He will. Just his first foul.
And look where this screen comes from, just inside the logo, and that's just too much space for him. People have asked me throughout the year, I'm sure you've gotten it too, can this guy play in the NBA? He's got something you really can't teach. I mean, you know, we see smaller guys, you know, the Trae Young set have come into the league at the guard spot who can score the heck out of the ball. Listen, the NBA likes scoring. That guy, to me, has to find the right situation, but there's no reason he can't play at the next level.
I'm sorry. If Trae Young can play in the NBA, this kid can play in the NBA.
I mean, he's not only can he score,
Rauf could play in the NBA. This kid can play in the NBA.
But he's a smart basketball player on top of it. He works his tail off, Marcus Howard. He works like a pro.
And oh, by the way, 2 great college players playing for their institutions, giving everything they got. It's that celebration that we need to be having. Not a debate over whether they can play at the next level.
You can't tell me it's only about what these guys do in games at the next level.
Right.
It's how they prepare, how they represent an organization. It's how they take care of their bodies, what they give to the community. Marcus Howard, he checks all those boxes.
Quincy McKnight gets that foul. Listen, another thing to take into consideration about Howard. This time a year ago, he had the Hausers, and I think it was surprising back in April of last year when they lost both of them. They decided to transfer, and then the pieces that Wojo had to get to go along with Marcus Howard has made this a successful season given those losses. 74-60, it's a 10-0 run, and the building is beginning to jump. And he is smiling from ear to ear, shooting us some gleam. Man, oh man, how much fun is this?
Timmy.
Listen, the greatness of these two on display.
The give up here, and Miles foul. MP, don't show him everything, man. Don't show him everything.
Smile, baby, smile. Keep on smiling. Home of Harley Davidson here in Milwaukee. And you could say this guy's got some set of wheels. What a career he's had. 77-60 our score. All-time leading scorer at Marquette in the Big East, both overall and in conference games. 7 career 40-point-plus games, 3 career 50-point-plus games. And oh, by the way, we built this graphic when he had 12. He's just made it a baker's dozen today. I mean, it's just phenomenal what he's been able to accomplish.
You know, there were a lot of players great players I played with and against, but I had the honor to play against the guy who he beat for all-time leading scorer in Big East play, and that was Lawrence Moten. And you enjoyed being in those games, you enjoyed beating them, but you really, even as a player, you respected it. And
I don't remember anyone talking about Lawrence Moten's faults when he was but now,
tremendous.
When you dare to be great, they come after you.
Yeah.
It's the world we live in.
Yeah.
Howard. Not there. Marquette pulls it down.
Great contest there. Surprised that didn't go down because he's had a couple of those with the hands in his face.
He has half of their points today. 30 of the 60 for Marquette.
And unfortunately, and fortunately, it's been the MO for Marquette in a lot of their games this year.
Look at Gill. He does get the foul this time as Theo John was in there. Romero's third. Lisa's got more on the Marcus Howard family story.
Yeah, quite a support system, Tim, that Marcus Howard has had. You see his mom and his dad. His mom, Nomi, his dad, Chuck. Who you don't see there is his brother, who's also in attendance, Desmond. Desmond actually was the one who kind of taught Marcus how to shoot. Maybe he can't stand the pressure of it, so he's left mom and dad right now. But he went through with Marcus and said that his enemy, as we see him shoot that, and that's interesting because he hit the front of the rim, right? So his brother said that was the biggest enemy that he had in shooting the ball. So he works with him verbally about once he hits that front of the rim, let's see what his next shot looks like. He will tell himself in the net, literally, mentally, to make that adjustment. And that's why you don't see many back-to-back misses with Marcus Howard.
Powell overran him. Mahmoud Kalashvili continues to tap it out. The combination of Gill and Mahmoud with those tap outs, Donnie, have been devastating for Marquette. McKnight, that's going to be a foul against Marcus Howard.
They just slipped trying to recover to Quincy McKnight. McKnight, I think, probably, I thought he was going to shoot it, but there's been no help on the interior, so try to put it on the floor.
So the third foul on Howard. He was foul free in the second half until that one. Powell, too strong. That'll be the easiest rebound that Theo John gets today. And once again, they're attacking Romero Gill. And Kane was fouled. That's 4 on Romero Gill. And the luxury for Kevin Willard is he can just turn to Ike Obiagu and say, go get you some, big fella. And number 21, all 7'2", 270 pounds of him, by way of Nigeria and the transfer portal from Florida State, is headed into the game. As is Brendan Bailey for Marquette. Mentioned earlier, it won't be long before we're in New York, and I'm happy to report that I'll get to join you guys for the very first time. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's Big East tournament, special time of year. I know that, you know, everyone with their conference tournaments, it's a good time, it's fun, it means a lot on the line, but I'm telling you, you don't know what a conference tournament is if you have never been to the Big East tournament.
No
and I
question.
know I'm a little biased because I played there, and it's just, I mean, it's a close second to the NCAA tournament.
Oh, there's another alley-oop, and I would say Ike Obiagu is in the building and on the floor.
That's how you get in the game, big fella, and get involved immediately.
79-61. There was a 10-0 run that cut it to 12, but Seton Hall has more than answered. 21 assists for the Pirates today. You simply cannot play much better, particularly on the road.
Wow, that was a trip. No call.
He can't believe it. Howard, end-to-end. And a reach-in foul prior to the shot. foul was on the floor.
I like the move by Mamukelashvili. I think he got tripped up in there. Unfortunate he didn't get that foul call.
Roden gets the foul. That's Jared's first. Been a lot of conversation about how many teams, and we've seen some separation by some of the great teams, the top seeds. Kansas being one of them. Oregon perhaps another team that's made a strong move. Baylor is that other team along with Kansas. But vying for potential 1 seeds and the cluster of teams trying to get to the 2 line is pretty amazing. And I would say Seton Hall, much like Creighton, is in a great position to get there.
You got the Gonzagas, the San Diego States.
Yep.
I mean, there are.
And by the way, Dayton's not going anywhere.
Dayton.
They've got a Player of the Year candidate.
I think a lot of that Player of the Year stuff ends up with how the team eventually does.
Agreed.
You know, Miles Powell has my vote. My partner that went to Stanford, that's in the studio right now, I think would have something to say about that. But he'd have a lot to say about that. But you know, Miles Powell has to be right up there in the conversation to me.
Luka Garza out of Iowa.
Luka Garza.
Well. I don't know of anybody that's been more important to his team than Luka Garza.
I think there are a lot of guys around the country who could make that argument for.
Off of Obiagu, so a rare, and I do mean rare turnover. That's just the second of this half. And that was on a basket interference call. 79-63. Always have a puncher's chance with this kid on the floor. Buckets, baby. He just knows how to get buckets. He came down gingerly there. Like he's favoring his right leg just a little. He's not coming out, though. Not in his final game in a Marquette uniform at home.
I think he was hit a couple plays earlier when they pulled him out of the photography section, if you will, on the baseline.
Yeah, you see he's clutching at that back calf of his. Shot clock winding down on Miles Cale over Howard. Rebound by Sakar Adam. Out to Brendan Bailey. Kane. Bailey rejected by Obiagu. How about that? Just in your face. And Powell takes it the other way.
I mean, the Seton Hall team, they really are built to play any style, any team. They can adjust. They have bigs who will not just block shots, but they'll change shots. I think defensively is really what makes them who they are, because they take a lot of three-pointers today, but they're only about a 32% three-point shooting team. They guard it very well at 30. But defensively, that to me is this team's identity, Seton Hall. And anytime they can get some scoring from other guys than Miles Powell, that's what makes them so tough.
I thought when Seton Hall beat Villanova in a game we had a couple of weeks back in Philadelphia, you see the standings, they finish with Creighton and Villanova again, this time in Newark. With that in mind, you know, this is a program, they got off the schneid at Villanova. That was a place that had just been a house of horrors for them. And they have fed off of that victory.
I'll tell you what, the other thing that's been a house of horrors is the month of February. They didn't let this extra day leap year affect them today, though all 3 of their conference losses are this month.
Annam with a much-needed tray. And the crowd still trying to get with it. The lead down to a baker's dozen. The pressure coming, and now numbers for Cale, and they'll wait. Set up shop with McKnight.
Another good play by Mamukelashvili, just slapping that ball back. Looked to me, he may have played some volleyball as a youngster.
Mamu again. Boy, is he in rhythm. He will remember this day for the rest of his life. His best performance in conference play. And a career-high day. 24 points, eclipsing the 23 against Sacred Heart.
I will say Kevin Willard has not only taught these guys how to be great teammates and a good team, but shown them a lot of class. They make baskets. They don't rub it in. That is sportsmanship at its best. Unselfish. Mamukelashvili not rubbing it in, getting back. Act like you've been there before. Seton Hall showing us everything today, folks. No contest. You're welcome.
All right, Joe, once again proving all the versatility between baseball calls and college basketball. Gets into that studio. Here's today's hardest working player, sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty. It's like that commercial when that kid stutters. There's no stuttering in this game for Miles Powell. He's 9 of 21. He got off to a terrific start, but his supporting cast has really been there to help out. You know, when he's missed a couple of shots, kids just, you can't say enough great things about this team, and especially Miles Powell.
No doubt about it. Twice this half, Marquette got to within 13 or 14, and each time the Hall immediately hit a tray to light themselves right back up. And here's Shavar Reynolds at the free throw line. Love the fact that this crowd, even with the lopsided score on senior day, very few, if any, have left. They know at a certain moment Marcus Howard's going to be taken out, and they want to give him his due. Mahmoud-Kalashvili will pick up the foul against Annam. It's a great basketball area, the whole state of Wisconsin. Really.
It's a wonderful sports town, for sure.
This facility, too, also the home for the Bucks. Last year, I came back after the Georgetown game, and it was a difficult day. Marquette was in a position to win the league outright that day. It was in March. And I came back about 4 hours later for the Bucks game. Couldn't believe I was in the same building.
If I had to pick my Knicks, though, couldn't it be 12 degrees warmer? Maybe 15 outside. That's all. Am I asking for much, Timmy?
We now know which one of the announcers has Twitter and the one that doesn't.
just 12 degrees warmer here. That's all I'm asking.
Says the man that played in Storrs, Connecticut.
It's balmy there. It's balmy in Connecticut. Well, compared to this.
Powell off the curl again. There's that Mahmoud-Kalashvili near tap out. This one finally controlled by Sakar Annam. Annam twirling, a whirling dervish pass Gill. Nice move. That's why so many believe that Marquette can make a run in the tournament. They can get Annam going with McEwen to aid and abet Marcus Howard.
Well, that's what they did against Georgetown Wednesday night. They got off to a really good start. 2 players in double figures. Neither one of them were named Marcus Howard, and then that just allowed him the freedom to get his game going.
Steal by Bailey. Out to Kane, and McKnight almost took it away.
Kane's got to gather that, though. He's got to pick that up sooner and not worry about what's coming behind him. You hear footsteps. You got to gather that thing and go up strong sooner.
It was a great step in by Bailey to get the steal. Reynolds will now check in for Powell. I loved that conversation those two had. And applaud the universities for making that happen. They talked to one another at our hotel, the historic Pfister here in Milwaukee, just last night. Howard fouled by McKnight, so it'll be 3.
I thought about that, interviewing one another, Miles and Marcus.
Yep.
I thought about if I could ever sit down and
be a fly on the wall.
No, have an interview a Lawrence Moten.
Oh yeah.
Or
good point.
One of my contemporaries. The answer is no. I couldn't do it. There's no way. And heck, I know Lawrence Moten would say the same thing. There's no way. We'll save our talking for on the floor.
Yeah. The incredible respect that those two have for one another just says it all. And
the friendliness. You play against a lot of guys you respect, but it's a different age of basketball. AAU has allowed these guys to not just play together but work out together and go to dinner and lunch together and be roommates on the road. So it's basketball is in a different place now, in a really good place, but a different place now than it was some 20 years ago.
And again, another reason why I'll suggest it yet again. Let's enjoy the 4 years, if they so choose, to play and not question that they played for 4 years. Could that be the moment? I don't know. Maybe not. Crowd thinks so, but I think that was more of a defense for offensive substitution. He's going to come back.
I will say with Lawrence Moten, I'm not saying that I was anywhere near the level of Marcus and Miles, but I will say when you respect the player.
Oh, nice work by Johnson. And now he's fouled, sandwiched between Kobe McEwen and Jace Johnson.
And they're still mixing it up. They're still playing hard. Guys are getting back defensively. Look at that, the challenge.
This just in, it is a 10-point game now. We are in the 1-1.
I mean, you get the right guy to the foul line. You got the right guy that can score buckets in a hurry. And Marcus Howard, you never know.
This is as close as Marquette has been since halftime. Now they've got a chance to cut it to 8 or 7. Howard's back on the floor. Bailey! Adam Seton! An 8-0 run. You knew it would happen, right? You had to know.
Time's on your side if you're Seton Hall, but you got to take good care of the basketball, use all of that clock.
McKnight going to use his size again. Tough shot. Great defensive work. Johnson blocking out Hill. Here comes Marcus. One more time. One more time. The iron unkind. Out of bounds. No. Rallied and a tap out. Allen taking it inside. Johnson lost it. How about that defensive work by Seton Hall?
Could be the play of the game. Yep. Miles Powell knocking that ball off Sakar Adams' leg.
Well, that would have cut it to 6 perhaps, and they collected it, made it a 2-possession game. Jamal Cain gets the foul.
And this happens because Sakar Adam thinks he's in the clear, and as soon as he brings that ball to his right, watch this, he brings it down, or to his left, you can't bring it back towards the defender. That's why a lot of players are taught when you put that ball on the floor, keep it on that same side. He brings it back. Miles Powell with the reach in, poke away.
And remember, it is 1-1 for Powell. Outstanding at the line the last 5 games, Seton Hall. 85% during this last run during the regular season as a team. Not this time. Door still ajar for Marquette. Adam. Got it. Timeout. It's down to 5. 34.6 left.
Marquette, or should I say Sakar Adam. They're on an 11-0 run. 8 of those are by Annam. And one thing, if you didn't know, Wojo, he was taught by a pretty good guy. Coaches down at Duke. And showing his guys and telling them how not to give up. You continue to play the game. And that's what Marquette has done. And listen, there's still a lot of time to go here. Missed free throws, and that's what Woj has to be telling his team. Get stops. They miss free throws. You got to be ready to score the ball.
As good as Seton Hall has been of late from the line, they missed the front ends of 3 1-and-1s, which, as we said, allowed the door to be ajar. And Adams' shots have allowed Marquette a puncher's chance. 1 timeout remaining for Marquette, 2 for Seton Hall. Reynolds to trigger it in. Gets it to Mahmoud Kalashvili. Back to Reynolds. And a quick foul given up. Now that puts him in the double bonus, so it's 2. It's coming up. Reynolds will get to the line.
I talked to him before the game and asked him what he shot from the foul line. He said almost 90. I'm like, okay.
It really helps when it's 2 rather than a 1-and-1.
Yes. They got the right guy at the line, though.
This is the big one. It makes it a 3-possession game. Roden checking in. Defense for offense with Powell. Got them both.
Got to go fast.
Well, we know one guy that can go fast, but can he get the ball?
You got to go first available as soon as you can get into it.
And him again. Doubled this time. Now Howard's got it. It's going up. He's doubled. And a steal. This will be the exclamation point. McKnight to Mahmoud. And that will put an end to it.
And the thing that got Seton Hall that lead is the thing that held Marquette at bay, and that's their defense. Suffocating, surrounding Howard.
And will allow this crowd to pay their respects to Marcus Howard on his final day. And the first to get to him, his friend, fellow player of the year candidate, Miles Powell.
I love that embrace. Comes over, gives him a hug. Actually, he searched out Marcus Howard to tell him a couple of words. That's just the ultimate respect, like you said.
You only play your last game once at home. How about that embrace? 37 for Howard today. Powell with 28. Mahmoud Kalashvili with 26.
But he leaves these fans a lot of tremendous memories in this building, even with the loss, 37 points. They have to be so grateful. They have no idea what they've just seen the last 4 years. Until he's gone a few more years away from here, they'll appreciate it even that much more.
Both of these young men are the epitome of why college basketball is to be savored and enjoyed in every respect. So much about the youth of America to love, and we find it whenever we run into these young men. Quincy McKnight coming over to embrace my partner.
A little Connecticut love.
Yeah, a little Connecticut love. Here's the standings after today's matchup. Marcus is shaking literally the hand of everyone at press row. Seton Hall in the catbird seat now. This is a huge win for them with what's coming up to hold on to the top seed going into MSG. But a lot of work left to be done. Villanova loses today to Providence. Creighton remains the hottest story in the Big East Conference. Marcus Howard in his final game, 37 points, but not enough against the Hall. For Donnie Marshall, our entire Fox crew, Tim Brando saying so long from Milwaukee. We'll send you to Joe Davis in Los Angeles right after this.